Okay. Good everyone. Today we'll be another Power BI learning community session. Today we're going to be looking at Power Query, starting with Power Query. And today I'll be presenting. My name is Ifeanyi Iheagwara, and the Power BI learning community is being sponsored by Enterprise DN and being brought to you by UrBizEdge. UrBizEdge is a Microsoft Excel financial modeling, business intelligence, and Data Analyst and Enterprise solution firm in Nigeria. They're also the developers of the Nigerian market data. This is the upcoming training calendar. The Power BI learning community is also being sponsored by Enterprise DNA. Enterprise DNA is a e-learning platform in which they power their users to learn more about Power BI so they can use it to help them in a business use case. They have, you can go over to the Power BI membership and you can also get a membership, and also they also have a lot of online courses. So my name is Benny or Ifeanyi Iheagwara. I'm a data and business intelligence analyst with UrBizEdge. I'm also a technical writer and a content creator. I'm also an open source contributor and also the community manager for the data analysis learning community and the Power BI learning community. So today we're going to be looking at Power Query. Okay, so Power Query. So as I'm also going to be the speaker, and I'm also going to be the moderator and the speaker. I'm giving everybody like presenter access. So whenever you have a question, you could always unmute and ask a question. Okay. Okay. So today we're going to be looking at Power Query. So let me share my screen. Can you take a look at my screen? All right. So today we're going to be looking at Power Query. So Power Query is a data transformation and data preparation engine. This engine is more of like a self-service ETL. When we say ETL, we mean extract. You can extract data from it. You can transform data, which is a T. So you can extract data, you can, yeah, sorry, and this stuff is also found in Excel and Power BI. So you can find it in Excel as an add-in. You can also find it in Power BI also. So with it, you can transform the data. You can extract data, E. You can transform data, which is T, and you can load data, which is the L. So you can transform load data. We're going to see how that works out in Power BI. And in this time, I'll also show you how to open Power Query in Excel. So another good thing about Power Query is that it allows you get access to large data from various different sources, regardless of where you get data from. You get from either from an SQL database, even from some third-party enterprise solution firms tools. Sorry, you can also get it. And the language of Power Query is the M formula language. So Power Query uses the M formula languages. Okay, so I'll move on to Power BI to open Power Query. Okay, so this is the interface of Power BI, and you can see Power Query from here. All you have to big up your data source. So today we're going to be looking at, if there's time, we're going to be looking at these different data sets. We have all these data sets, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to be taking a look at all of them and how we can transform them, or how we can clean them to make them look better. So we're going to start with this object data that will move to the lift CSV file. Okay, so to analyze your data, all you have to do is go to Excel workbook. You click on it. You can also click on it to get access to your data. Yeah, or you can click from import data from Excel, and you go to your location of your data set, which is this. I'm looking at this. So I press OK. If you notice in that folder, you're seeing those three. That means one of the files here it's not an Excel file, but instead an CSV file, which is this. So this is a CSV file. .csv. So that's why you're only saying 3. So when I click the Excel, you only showed me the 3 Excel file, which are these 3, but you didn't show me this. That's something to take note of. Okay, so I can get your data set from here. You look for the data set you want. So before we come here, I forgot to mention, So from here, besides getting an Excel or getting from a CSV file from the web, you can click on more and you see okay, so is it better now? Is everything okay now? You said I was breaking up. Is it clear now? Okay, clear. All right, thank you. Okay, right. Okay, so when you open Power BI, you see this get data, you click on it, and you can get data from any of the source. You click on more, and you can get the data from, it opens this third party. Okay, thanks. So you can get this, it opens this list. So these are different data sources. You can get the data from any of these data sources, from Quibo, from Spark, from, just think of it. Even from Google Analytics, you can get data from order, even from SurveyMonkey, you can also get data from here. So, but today we're only dealing with a regular file test, which is also using with Excel workbook. So click on Connect. We look for the Excel workbook, which is this. We click on this, and it opens the workbook. So if I open the workbook, which is this, it shows, you can see we have 3 different sheets in this workbook. I have on pivot, beta test column. If you also come here to Power BI, you can see I also have 3 different. Right, so this shows me all the tables or from the different sheets that you found here. So all I have to do is to click on them, and I can pick the one that I want. So for example, let me say I want to use this now, beta test column. When this is what I want, I tick on this. This also shows the same thing. So I can also take from here. So I'm going to pick here. But this is suggested, so it has already done maybe how it feels it should look like for me. But this is what I want. So I click on this and I click on transform. The load, if you click on load, loads go to load directly into Power BI. But I want to clean this data because this doesn't look presentable. So I'm going to click on transform, which should take me to Power Query. Which is Power Query. So this is Power Query. Okay, so this is Power Query. So from Power Query has 5 different ribbons. This is the up ribbons, which takes you to Microsoft blog, the Power BI blog, the community, where you can submit an idea or a feature you feel you would like to see with a guided learning session. You go to tools, this for diagnosis of your queries. This shows your this shows your views. So maybe most of you might notice that yours look like this. That's just be my, if I manipulate my views, this is the formula bar. This will, like I say, I can't see my formula bar anymore. If I click on this, I can see my formula bar. And like I mentioned, the Power Query, uses M language formula. This is the language formula I use. So what you're seeing here, this is M language. The next thing you also notice again is the column quality. If I click on column quality, it shows me the quality of my column. So like the name says, the quality of my column. So how many is my column valid? By valid, are there something on every rows? So on every rows on this data, there's something on it. So it's showing me how 100% valid. Are there any errors? No, there are no errors. Is it empty? No. Then again, I click on column distribution. Column distribution shows me how many numbers of distinct or unique I have in each column. Does anybody have an idea of what we mean by distinct and what we mean by distinct and what we mean by unique? Like maybe what do you think is different? No, anybody have an idea? What you feel like distinct? What is it distinct and unique will mean? So when we say distinct, if I click here, let me say I want to open a new file. So distinct, unique. So for example, let me take this of fruits. Oranges, mango, apple. So let me say I want to know the count or like the number of fruits we have here. I want to know the unique. So I want to know the distance. And I also want to know the unique. So by count basically just means like how many is here. So this is 1, 2. Okay, so you can see here we have 6. But when I say distance means like how many types. So it's more of like the type or the categories. Here we can say we have orange. You can see there's a fruit called mango. And we can see there's a fruit called apple. And there's a fruit called basically our distance is 4. There are 4 different kind of fruits in this list. On the other hand, unique. Unique means how many of these fruits or how many of these item appeared just once. Our answer here will be 2. That's because pawpaw, as we can see, only appeared once. Give me a moment, I think. Okay, sorry. Someone's at the door. Okay, so this thing unique here is going to be 2. And by 2, I mean pawpaw and also mean mango. These fruits are the only ones that appeared once on this list. The other ones appeared twice. So mango and unique are distinct. That's what we are distinct and unique. Okay, so now go back to power query. That's what we're saying here, distinct, unique. So at the ending, so that means none of them appeared multiple times. That's what the unique is telling me. So none of the 2 columns here are the same thing. None of the 2 rows here are the same thing. Then column profile. Column profile gives us more of like statistics of the column. The count, the errors, the empty, the distinct, the unique, the empty strings, what is the maximum, what is the minimum. This might not make sense for a text column because you can't say what's the maximum of a text. If it was like numbers, this statistic will make better sense. So most time you can turn it off because it also occupies a lot of space. Then the add column, this gives us where we can create additional columns in our table. We can use the formula here to create a custom. We can use to create a custom column here, or we can use this conditional column here to make this similar to your if formula. So if maybe whatever is in this column is equals to this, maybe show me this. With the if formula, we can do that. Then I go to transform. The transform types this is where the magic happens. The home ribbon and the transform tab. This is where all the magic takes place. Is it like frozen? Okay. So the home ribbon and the transform ribbon, this is where the magic takes place. Okay. Okay, the home ribbon and the transform ribbon, this is where the magic takes place. This is what we can do. Use our first row. We can promote this. This is supposed to be our headings to the top. This is what we can fill. This is what we can do our own pivot. This is what we can change our data type. This is what we can merge. This is what we can format. This is what we can. This is basically where all the magic happens. These 2 ribbons, the home and the transform ribbons. This will happen if you want to create a new column. That will need to use it. The view, once you have done it, you don't need to actually come back here and do it again. Yeah. So the first thing we're going to do, the first thing you usually do when you're trying to clean your data is usually your heading column. So our headings, this is supposed to be our headings, but this cannot be our headings because we can see it seems like these are supposed to be different columns, but they are all joined together. So we need to take out this the less than greater sign together, that's add together with it. And if you were using something like Excel, you use this way. You might probably, if it was an Excel, if it was an Excel, for you to maybe solve this, you might say you want to do maybe you come here, do a find and replace to replace whatever you see this with either a comma or something. You can do that, and then you do a test column to actually split it. So you can place this with a comma. Okay. Then when this is done, if it was an Excel, you come here and do test column. There's it's a comma, and then you do finish, right? And you have everything now in different sheets. And all you have to do now is change your data type, like correct this, and that's it. If it was an Excel. But with Power BI, you can do this with the Power Query. You can do this. Okay. Well, with Power Query, you can do this quickly, very fast, with just one step. So the first thing you do in Power Query is you come here, and what you're going to use is this split column, which is similar to our delimiter. And you just come here and you just put the two of them, and you split it by every occurrence. Whenever it sees this sign, it should split it. That's what I said. That's what we mean by every occurrence. If we only want to split the first one, we'll pick leftmost. If we want to pick the right one, we'll pick rightmost. But for now, I'm going to use every occurrence of this delimiter. We'll press OK, and we're done. Now, what we're going to do now is to promote this as our header. To do that, all we have to do is go to Home, use first field as headers. And then now you change your data types. So data types are very, very important for Power Query. They are very important. So we have different data types. You can see decimal numbers, fixed decimal numbers, odd numbers, percentage, date, time zones, and the rest. This data time, you should ignore it because it causes that coloniality and it's really not something you want to. So for our first table, last time, we're going to leave it as text. This is good. This is also going to be a text, which is good. This should also be a number. So we can make it a number. And for this, it can also be a text. So this is okay. And when we're done, we'll do close and apply. So the close and apply, there's close and apply, there's close. Apply means you have done some transformation, some cleaning, and you just want to apply it here. Like you should save changes. That's why you click. That's why you go and apply. Closes, you have done some transformation, but you don't want it yet into Power BI. Maybe for some strange reason you don't want it yet. You're still on the defense. You are not sure whether what you did is right or something. So you gotta do a close. The close and apply means you're closing Power Query and where you should save it in Power BI. So we're going to do a close and apply. And it's here. Okay. So everything is here now. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is, so I've done this now. So we can try the next one. So like I mentioned, Power Query is both in Excel and also in Power BI. So you have seen it right now in Power BI. The same step it took in Power BI is exact same steps it takes in Power Query. Sorry, in Excel. So let's see how we can open Power Query in Excel. So to open Power Query in Excel, we've used better test column. Let's try this other table. Let's try this. So this task now is easy. We want to change this table from, as you're seeing it here, to something like this, smaller. We want to do that, we can actually pick which date we want. So we want our dates here to actually be a column on itself. And then all these figures we're all seeing here should also follow the right dates, the corresponding date and the corresponding salesperson. So if you can see, this table is just like this. All is happening is that this particular person now, other January, this other January, it's our figure. The next thing you go again, other February, March, June. So here is going to start with guy's name, with again January, and the year will also be his figure here. And then you would also continue again with the same all the way down till we get, then its own also go January all the way down also again till February and the rest. This was going to happen. So this is what we're going to trying to do right now in Power Query. No, so this is just practicing. Yeah, I would post it on a link. I could look, let me just do that right now. So let me put it on a drive and share this right now. Then you can download it from the drive. Sorry, so this is a link. So the files are on the link. You can open the drive and where if you open the drive, this is the drive and you see the file here. So the files are all here. Okay, so we want to change this table to this. So we're going to want to open this now in Power Query. So to open this in Power Query, all we have to do is select this table. And you see here from table stroke range. This means I want to get a table or a range in my Excel workbook, in this particular Excel workbook which I'm working in. If I wanted it from an external Excel workbook, for example, I want to open maybe this do you even lift? This is what I want to open. I'm just going to come here from get data from file and I'll pick the workbook. And I can go to desktop, go to Power Query, and then I can pick. Okay, so that one is it's a CSV file. Yeah, so I pick this, do you even live, and I import it. I'll wait for it to create a connection, and well, you can see it here now. It's in Power Query. Then I click on transform data. Okay, so I have this file. We're going to do this next. So the next thing now, I've done this. Let me just skip. Okay, so now I want to get, instead I want to move, this is what I want in Power, this is what I want now in my Excel, this is what I want. Okay, so I'm going to select this. I'll go to data, and this time I'll pick from table stroke range, since this is what I want to get it. If I want for my external source, like I mentioned, you just come here and you pick. So I go to from table stroke range, I click on it. Does my table have an header? Yes, this is my header. The header looks all right. Okay, so I press OK. It opens Power Query. So this is Excel's Power Query. It has the exact same function as Power BI Power Query, just like the same Power Query you saw here. This is the exact same Power Query as seen here. So I can put them side by side. Yeah, so you see exactly the same thing. So everything you can do, if you know it Power Query in Excel, you already know it's in Power BI. They all both have the exact same. The only difference, Power BI has way more data source compared to what Excel can do. But beside that, every other stuff is basically the same thing. Another thing you should know about Power Query that I forgot to mention is that Power Query does not there's no undo button. So if a Power Query actually records your step as you're doing a step, it records it here for you. So in this one that we did in earlier, this was the step we took. This is where we got the data source. This is where we navigated it to pick the column. This is where we change the data type. it does this by itself. Then this way I splitted the column. This way I changed the types of my columns. This way I promoted one of them as an header, and this way I changed the final type again. So if I don't want to promote it, all I have to do is cancel this to break the step, and then this was cause a problem because there was no first row which was supposed to happen here. So you can always go back in time and change, but you should know that whatever, if you're changing a step earlier, you should make sure that the column that you're changing or what you're going to change does not affect something that you have done right now in the present. Kind of like a version control kind of thing. So I close this, apply steps. Okay, so now I want to make this to look like this. So for us to do that, that is just done by using the unpivot. That's what the unpivot does. The unpivot change the column, like you can see, it makes this. So the pivot basically it converts a column into. It's going to make this. It's going to make our headers here a column, and it's going to give the figures to correspond with each of them. That's what the pivot to do. So you click on this, you can either click on this and I'll click on this, then click on pivot other columns because I want to unpivot just these columns. I don't want to unpivot this among of it. If you click on this on pivot columns, you want to unpivot this particular column, but I don't want to unpivot this, cannot pivot the others. So I can either select this column and click on pivot other columns, or I select all these columns. And if you have up to 20 columns, that could be very taxing, and click on pivot columns. Depends on you. So I click on pivot columns and it has done that. So now you have my salesperson here, this and this. All I have to do is come and change the year to be year should date. And the year should be maybe this the amount. And just like Excel, it has the same thing with all the white spaces and everything. And column quality and everything. So this is our pivot. When you're done, you have close or load or close and load too. So close and load 2 can make it close and load it as a connection. So the data doesn't be on exactly in your data set, and later on close and load loads it exactly into Excel. So if I click on close and load here now to create a new, and just connected it here. And right now, you can see it's a connection and it's also showing on my Excel sheets. So let's do this one. I will pick the second option. So in this case now we're trying to also again, this data is like this. These are correspondent names. This was a question each person answered. So you can see this person basically answered this question. And for our next, also having this question, and this one also having this question. But I want it in a way that I can show the person's name. I have a column which has all the ages. Give me a minute. Sorry. Okay, sorry. So we can also select the. So we're trying to make this like all the correspondent names are here, all the ages are here, the annual income is here, the marital status is here, the family size, the interest, which is all this here. But want this to be the answer to this should be this. So the same way we select everything here, we go to data, go to from data stroke range. My table has the letters, yes, data data. And this time we're not going to unpivot it because this time we're trying to change. We're trying to make columns, so rows to become columns. So we're going to pivot it. And to do that, we go to transform. We select this table, which has this column that has our conspirators names. But instead of using unpivot columns, we're trying to pivot column. So we're going to pivot this column. Click on it. The questions we want it to give us, the questions. Press OK. But this is not correct now. So we'll go back. We'll do this. Plan to pivot this column, and yeah, we're using the answers. So, oh, something. Okay, yeah, I've seen. So yeah, I'll click on this, print on pivots, the answers, but I don't want to count. Yeah, dog gets it. So press OK. Yeah. So now we have all our correspondence names, their age, their annual income, the marital status, the family, and the size. And once we're done, let's use the second option. So we'll do this now, close and upload to. So when you click the second options, it gives you, I'll load into a table. That means go to create a table like this one did, created a table for us. Or should I create it as a pivot table report or go straight to a pivot chart or only as a connection? So as a connection, it's going to make it to appear like an Excel file without, it's going to appear as just a connection to our file. We want to see the table here. You click on this as a pivot table, it's going to go to open a pivot table for us immediately. So let's look at the connection. I'll now press OK. And it's just here. So the file is not going to be directly on our Excel workbook. It's just going to be a connection. So we're gonna use this now to either make a pivot table or go back and do some carry to even Power Query. We added it to data model. So that's just it. Okay. So now let's go back to. So far, are there any questions? Okay. Okay. So let's look at the second. Let's look at another example. So now, if you must always do your stuff here. We can also open our query here. We can also open yeah. So transform data. Yeah, and yeah, we'll pick a data source. Now we're going to use the CSV file. So we'll click maybe here, and this file, do you even lift? So I press OK. Yes. Okay, so this gives us a preview of our file, and we press OK. Okay, so now looking at this data, how do you feel will be the best way to arrange it? Anybody? How do you feel will be the best way to arrange it? Does every session, was it a bench press, was it a squat, was it a deadlift? You also ask everybody's name and the date, and this is like information for Martins. The minute you go a bit further, you see Meryl has her own information, Danny also has his own information. But one thing in a way that we can have a column here that's just first name, a column here that is just last name, and a column here that is then where all these other details. So how do you think we can do that? Just random steps. So you can unmute and just give me a suggestion of how do you feel we can solve this problem. Okay. So the first thing, like I mentioned, you should look. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, first and foremost, for me, first and foremost, I have to clean my data by removing all the blank, by selecting the first column and removed, like the first column, select it,
Yeah.
and remove all the blank, all the empties rather, sorry.
All the empties. Okay, so let's remove all the headings. So let me duplicate this. Duplicate. Okay. So this is we're going to remove all the empties. So to remove all the empties, so you right click a column and we do move. Okay, no. We just do a filter. Select all, but
Okay.
exclude the blanks and press OK. So now we have no blanks now. We have no blanks.
Yeah.
Okay. Then okay, then I think we also delete this last two. Okay, so now we have no blanks. Okay, so what else do you feel we should do next? Just a guess, anything you just, how do you feel we should just approach it? There could be multiple ways of doing it. Toby.
Okay. I don't know again.
Oh, okay, so okay, the next thing you should do. So, okay, so once a column here that just has the person's name, right, and everything. Okay, so we can actually duplicate this column. Duplicate this column, and we'll go to transform and move this one to the beginning. We'll also do the same thing for this column. Again, duplicate it. But let's start one by one. We'll also move this one. We'll also duplicate this one. Okay, so the first thing we can do is we can move this to be our headers. Use first as headers. Hello. Okay. I think there's a background noise. Okay, so I've done this now. So the first thing, next we're going to do, so let's create this one first. So since I already have this, the next I'm going to do is I already have a copy of this and a copy of this. I can move this to use my first as headers. If I go to here, you can see it here, use first as headers. Okay, so I have this. This shows everything that I want. So I can also remove this, anything that has session, I can also remove them next. So I can select everything on select session. Okay. Okay, now everything feels like it's coming together one at a time. Okay, next I'm going to do now, I'm going to split this column by delimiter. Whenever it says this two columns, you should split it. So I press OK. Now I can delete this one. Move this column. And I can fill down. Okay, so now we have Martins here. Okay, so I'm going to come here now and do the exact same thing I did for the other column here also. So I also duplicate this one. I cannot move this one to, again, the beginning also. But I'll make this one to come here. Okay, so this is going to be their first name. This is the... Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing again. I even need to rename this one because I did the split by the delimiter. Again, the column. Okay. I'll also remove this one. And I fill it down. Okay, so now that I've done this, the next thing is to do is want this date also again. So I also duplicate this column. I also move it again to the beginning. If we start using this, I can also drag it. I just thought it was going to be a lot of movement. Okay, that's here. Okay, and then I do a split. So I split by delimiter. Whenever it says this column, split it. Then I can delete, remove this one, and I can call this one date. And I can also use a fill down to fill it down. Then once this is done, I want to remove this first name, last name, something. So I can actually come here to this one and just say you should remove the blanks from it. Because if we remove the blank from this other column, it's going to indirectly also remove this entire column. The other one's on the row. So I say remove the blanks and I press OK. Yeah. So now we have our data set which shows everybody's name, their last name, their date with a number of reps and everything. Oh yeah. I think this was also not supposed to be part of it. Okay, this is sessions. Okay, that's part of it. Yeah, so this is it. And when you're done within the Power BI, use the close and apply tool or the close and apply, and you move it to Power BI. I come here to the date. I can click on this. I say clean data here. So that's how to solve that particular one. So when you click on, so a Power Query, the idea of Power Query is just for you to like, there's multiple ways of you cleaning your data. There's so many features you can always see here. You can remove columns, you can remove rows, you can sort, you can split by first name, by last name, even by lowercase and uppercase, by uppercase and lowercase, by digital and not digital. You can change your data types. You can use first order, so you can replace, which like define and replace in Excel. You can merge your queries, so everyone append it. So merge queries, you merge it sideways. So if you're, for example, want to add, let me say I have another table that has a location and I want the location to show here. It should be a column for location. I can combine those two tables together so that it matches whenever it says this name, it gives me the person's location. And I have a column here that has the person's location. Append this, if maybe, let me say, for example, there's somebody new at the gym and the person's name maybe is Thomas. I want to add Thomas. I'm going to add Thomas as a new column. I'm going to add Thomas like underneath Danny. It's going to be like number 31, number 34, number 35. So that's appending. So appending, adding it from like you're adding it on, it's part of the data. It's more of like the data is growing. You go to transform, there's transpose, there's reverse, you can count your number of rows, you can rename your rows, which is similar to what you just double click here and you rename it. You can also change your data type, which you can change it from here, or you can also pick here and change your data types. You can replace, which is like I mentioned, define and replace. We have seen the fill. The fill allows us to fill down. So like this, we had here was none. The fill down basically means that you should keep filling Martins down. Whenever I see something that has something, you should stop filling with Martin and pick up this and fill down, which is what he did here. Martin, then he saw Meryl and picked it up and then moved the same thing he did for Danny. You can on pivots on pivots, which we have seen. You can move, which is similar to moving something like this, which is what I say you can also do like this. But this allows you to, if case you have like 2,000 columns, so every 20 columns, instead of you dragging it, you can just quickly use this and move to the ending and make a shorter movement. You can split, you can format, which make everything lowercase or make everything uppercase, or trim it. So by trimming or clean means basically you cleaning extra spaces in front of it or below it. Clean means you also move extra spaces in the middle of it. You can also want to extract only the first letter, only the first distance, or the last character, or after a delimiter, or before the delimiter. We can also use this instead of us using the splits here. I have extracted every character that is before everything that's after the dot dot. Then you can play some statistics. Then again, you can also merge columns. So the merging column is, okay, so now we have last name, first name here. I want to merge them together. I'll select both of them, click on merge column. And I'm merging it to with a space. I want it to use a space. And I'll call it those names. I press OK. So you can see now it has merged those two columns together. This, if it was in Excel, you would have to do a concatenate or use the and or use text join or something. You can also extract from your dates. So from our dates now, I can extract maybe just the years, the person's age, just the years, just the months, just the quarter, just the week, and just the day. All from Power Query. So I close and apply. Now I move to Excel. I open a new workbook. So let's say, for example, the data I'm trying to do on Excel is not on my Excel workbook, it's on a different data. So in different Excel sheet or from a database. I can also come here and pick the database I want from all these choices. Or I can just come here and pick here and let me say Excel workbook. Okay. So I go to desktop, go to Power Query, and for example, I want to use this jumbled up customer details. Let me see what that has. So I click on import, and it brings it here for me, and I can see it here. So this is what I want. These are the data I want to make it to look something like this. And that, instead of getting it here, I can also come here and if we open Power Query, just like in Power BI. And I can actually bring data from right here in Power Query. For Power Query, bring it here from new source. You click on new source, click on file, click on Excel workbook, and we pick on this one, jumbled up customer details. And I click on the depth version and I click on OK. Okay, so now we have this. And then now I can do all sorts of cleaning that I want to do. Okay, so for this, how would you clean this?
Can split columns by
Yeah, you can split columns.
by space.
Yeah, we can split by space. So yeah, we can do by space. So every occurrence, everything is a space, you split it.
Yes, we can do that and merge it back. Okay, once that one's put together.
Okay, so this is now names. So this what happens.
After this,
so that works, but that would have worked on the normal scenario if everything was very
same format.
arranged.
Okay.
Everything was very format. So if I come here, this person called this after address, the listed address as number 23. This person just left 11. I wrote the close. The person just wrote 1. I left the close. The person actually kept number at this. So that's why it appeared like this person had number. So that's at 22.
Okay.
Yeah. So for this one, you can do this. You do the split, but you have to take it slowly. Maybe split the very first tree, and then you start from there to
the others.
Or
Okay.
but you can also because if you also do a join in here, you have already someone age has already entered this column.
Yes, I can see it.
This one has else. But yes, it's just a split. You just have to take it this time maybe slowly. Okay. Then even while you're here, you don't need to actually close your Power Query to get new data. You can always come here again File, Excel workbook, and pick your new data. And press OK. And you can understand. So that's it on Power Query. Okay, so let me show you the merging query and append query, what I meant. So this one, we don't really have anything that's measurable. Okay. Okay, so I come here to new source from Excel workbook. Okay, so I think, okay, so I was there. I told you, you come to new source, go to file, go to Excel file, and let me say, for example, I pick him this distributor, I press to import it. I want on this table, I press OK. Then also again, file Excel workbook. This time I'm picking my orders, and I press OK. I also want this. Yeah, I say OK. Okay, so we can see here we have customer IDs, and the customer IDs here are coded with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But on this other table, our customer IDs actually have, these are the customer ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but they actually has a name. Let me say, for example, I actually wanted the names to show here instead of the customer ID. This is where the merge query can come in. Okay, this is where the merge query can come in. So I click on merge query. This is the table I am right now, table 4, which is this. I can give it a different name if this name is not all right. My calling it maybe orders. I come here and I call this distributor list. Yeah, so I come here, go to merge query. I want our distributors here. I want to join it by these two columns. So I pick the columns I want to merge it by customized by distributor like this. The fuzzy match you see here, fuzzy match allows you to like fuzzy, like it mostly is for like names. So for example, on one table your name is called Thomas Okafor, but on another table it's actually called Okafor Thomas. If you use VLOOKUP or if you use without a fuzzy match, it will tell you that you cannot find these names on the other table. But actually you can find it. It's just that the name is, well, it's the first name came before the last name this time instead of it being the last name for the first name. That's why you use a fuzzy match. So you give it a fuzzy match and give it a degree. By default is 80. Okay, let me use this. Trying to find out, show the default side. It's not showing it. But by default, it's actually 0.8 by default. Okay, that's why you use a fuzzy match. In this case, we don't use a fuzzy match because there are numbers and you cannot really determine the fuzzy match. So we'll turn it off. And we'll press OK. So it brings the distributor table here. So this our table here is now here. If you click on this, these are all the columns in that table: ID, name, address, LG, state, country. If you come here, you see everything here: ID, name, address, LG, country, exactly just like that. So I click on this, and I only wanted the names of the distributors. So I can tick all and click on just name and press OK. And when I'm done, I move it here.
Sorry, please, can I have a question? Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So you have a question? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's when you want to do the merge rather.
Yes. Yes.
I just want to ask a quick question. Like when I saw the two tables, like I only want to match together the customer ID and the distributor ID.
Yes.
Will I select the customer ID and also the distributor ID before I go for the final OK?
Yes. So I want to merge the table here. So I'm going to just go to click on merge query, and I pick the other table distributors, and I select the customer ID as the distributor ID. First, it gives me this. It
Okay,
gives me
that's
this
what I'm
sign.
saying.
Okay. And when I'm done, I press OK. And then I can select if I want the entire table here, or do I just want the name. So yeah, I only want the name. If I want the state, I
Now,
also click this.
yeah,
Okay.
my
Yeah, the question.
my point now. Okay, for me selecting the customer ID and that's what I want to merge. If I want to
No. That's what I want to. That's what I want to. That's what I want.
I have to select that one.
No, sorry, please.
Like for example,
Okay, come again. Hello.
no, I'm not asked to
No, you said,
like for example, like I saw names. I saw like I want to match the customer ID. Hello.
yeah, I can hear you. You say you want to merge the customer ID.
Like I want to merge the customer ID with the distributor ID.
Yes.
When I go to customer, I match queries. I select the customer. Yes. So after selecting the customer ID in the previous table and the customer.
Oh, okay. So I'm here again. Sorry. You said something. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. Hello. Hello.
The distributor ID. My question is that if I want to merge another tables with each other. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Toby.
Like if I want to merge
Hello.
the customer ID, if hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
So you
If I
said you
want to
want to
merge the
merge the
customer
customer.
ID with the name,
Yes.
like a name in the table, I will just select the customer ID and the names.
Okay.
Like
No. So you have to.
the
So
one I
wait. So
selected,
what you did?
like
Yeah. So
I want
yeah,
to
go on.
have the one I selected. If that one that is merging, is that one that is going to
Customer
match
ID and the names.
specifically and the
This to
names, or
like
it's going
this.
to merge the whole table? Yes, or it's going to merge the whole tables in the second column, or it's only the customer
Oh,
ID.
okay. Okay. No. So what you do? You actually select that. So before you can merge a column, there must be something the two columns share, and that's what you're going to select.
Okay,
These names are not in this column, but these ID numbers
okay,
are in this column. So I'm going to select
okay,
these two. But I'm telling that, but when you're done merging, whenever it says number 3, it will come to this table and pick whatever I want here on this number 3. That's what it's doing. Well, not that
okay,
like yeah. So yeah, this is only picking something that this table has and something this table has, something they both share in common, which here is both these ID
okay. Like
numbers.
okay, the rule is that both of them must share similarities if I can match.
Yeah, yeah. It's similar to like you're
Okay,
doing VLOOKUP. It's something to look here, just like you do VLOOKUP. You should come into this table, look for number 3, and maybe give me the name. That's similar to what this image does. Just like a more automatic way of VLOOKUP, but it has that same finding of VLOOKUP. So I'm telling you, whenever I see number 3 here, you should come to this table and pick the person's, which is picks this name and give it here. So when you pick on something, these two columns share together, you select both of them. You see this green stuff shows. It gives you this go sign. You press OK. Then it's here that you now pick out what you want to see. So here you pick out what you want to see. So in our case, what you want to see is either what do you want to see, or what would you like to see from this table? Hello, Toby. Okay. So in our case, we pick out what we want to see from this table, which could be whatever we want to see from this table. So in our case, let's say, for example, we want to see so let's say we want to see the name and the distributor. So let me open the distributor. Is like you actually say that you're giving us the same ID, distributor ID, and bring out the name, and bring out maybe this, not the state, the LG, and maybe the state here. Sure, okay. If I move this column ID to this place, you see, whenever I saw 3, it picked up 3 here. Whenever I saw 3, it picked up 3 here. Whenever I saw 4, it picked up 4, and that's why it's bringing out these other ones. So it's only using these 2 columns to like actually make the join. This 2 columns are just for it to join what it does. Yeah. So that's all it's doing.
Actually, I just want to clear the line. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Customer ID. Distributor ID, rather.
Yeah, we'll call it. So it could be, so the thing that on the 2 different columns, it could
I
be
want to
different
do that
names.
so that you're able to trace the numbers.
You want to trace the numbers? Oh yeah, so that's why I say, so you select, in that part where you're selecting here, you want to like find out if you actually did correctly. This part that you select here, actually select your distributor ID and compare the numbers with distributor IDs with this customer ID to see if they both match. You notice that they actually both match. That's what it's using. Okay. So when I'm done, do close and load. Let me show you, if it was in Excel, what's similar to what you have done in Excel. If this was in Excel, what you actually did was similar to okay, so I'll put this from file Excel notebook distributor ID. I said export it. Loads. Okay. Should let it say directly. Okay, so I open this other one. I come back to this from file. These orders. And this table says load it instead of transforming it. So it loads it directly into Excel. Okay, so what we did there is we want these names to show here. It's similar to me just come here. I'm come here and calling something called names. And I come here and do equals to VLOOKUP. You should look for whatever I fancy here. You should look for it in what table. We should go to this table. Find it and give me the second column and give me the exact match. Close the brackets. Enter. This is exactly what the match did. This is exactly what match did for us. So also of us writing this formula, match did so whenever I see 3, if I actually wanted the exact same column, maybe I want to see if it's correct. I come here, let me call here, maybe escape, come here as come here and do and this here, but instead of it being number 2, I want to see number 1. Yeah, so this is exactly what I did, and I want to find out if that's true. I do, is this equals to this text? If I look here, I'll see there's no false. It's only true. This is exactly what if you look up did. This is exactly what the merge in Power Query did for us. Okay. So are there any other questions?
Yes. I have a data downloaded from Kaggle, and I wanted to just ask,
okay,
how are we able to clean that data? The dates year column is showing negative numbers, like minus 5,000, minus 1,000, and I don't really know if I'm to remove it or what am I to do with that kind of column.
so the column is showing years. The column is, you said the year column is showing negative numbers.
Yes.
Okay. So the thing is, okay, you can see this one, my date is not showing correctly here. It's showing me one, this is this one here. Yeah, so if I go back to edit my query, so the thing with dates is that, so I'm supposed to come here and I'll pick up, pick here to be date. So the thing with date is that most of the problem with date is, let me go back to Excel. Okay. So the tip is date is that, so in Nigeria, when we're doing our dates, we use a date, month, year approach. So today's date is going to be the 8th of the 5th, 2022. Another date, maybe in another part of the world, is probably going to be 8th, 5th, 2022. So if maybe you give these dates on when a particular file has these 2 dates, there's no problem. It's just that you have given wrong information. This is it's reckoning it as the month here. The month here, according to it, is probably taking the month here. You are thinking the month for you is May. The other person is taking the month is January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. It's August, right? So when most of the time when you're cleaning dates, and if maybe there's a date now, maybe you wrote the dates. Let's say it was you're filling it was here that they got filled up, and you're writing. You write maybe 17th of the 5th, 2022. Sometimes when you change the Power Query, to give you an error because there's nothing like there's not 13th month, but you actually made this as a date, as a day, not as the month. So most of the time when you're cleaning your stuff when you're cleaning dates in Power Query, without you picking the dates, there's this stuff you call use locally. You click on it, and you actually specify a particular time zone that you treat the entire data as. So you treat the data as a date, and I pick the particular time zone that you should format it according to this particular time zone that you want. So you just look for where you want. So next on Nigeria now, and it's actually it's going to treat everything as the particular exactly how it's treated in that particular like location.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And if maybe you feel the negative number is still an error, you can always do a quick replace the dash with something. And again, you should also be sure if the dash is actually like it's not used to like separate the data. It's not just using a column, or it's not like it was a dash that was used. That could be another reason.
There's this stuff I just did now. I changed the format to date, and it was asking me if I should add as a new step or
replace the step.
Yes, replace the step. But those two are given to. If I replace, it's giving errors. But if I add as a new step, it's giving me like correct columns.
Okay. Yeah. So remember I mentioned that Power Query there's no undo button.
Yes.
There's no undo button. So everything you're doing, it happens, it's being recorded here. So most times you could have maybe, if you are here, for example, and you try to do a step, it usually asks you that question. It could just be your mouse could have moved or you moved here, and you could ask you that's what it's asking, that should you replace this step? Like, should you replace it? Like what you have done here, you should replace it with this new step which you are doing. But most of the time, for you to do this new step you want to do, you are using something that something you have already done, like something that something that you, how do I put it? Okay, so like this one, I changed the. Let's say for this one, like I changed it. Let me see, this was date and time, and I changed it. I moved out the date, so the time, I left just the date, and I'm on it, and I do a replace the new step. So it's asking me like should it replace the step I've done? But for me to change my date to something, it was a time which needed to be removed for it to have done that. So that is,
Okay.
so most of the time, just make it to add a new step. Always pick the add a new steps. Just to be on the safe side. That's okay.
Then my next question: if you have like maybe a data set and then it doesn't have values for certain columns, or maybe it has some column in like half of the column has values and the rest doesn't have value, can you like replace the null the null values with 0 or just remove them? How do you treat that kind of data set?
Okay, so that's no the non-data set, that's null reason. So that's treating the non-value is actually very tricky stuff in general, because sometimes the non could actually be because there's actually nothing there. That's why it's null. It's actually nothing. Like it's actually nothing. It could also be how the person wrote it. That's why it's actually showing you none. None could actually be like there's actually nothing there. And nothing again, null could also be in the case of maybe was how the person presented the data. That's why you have a none. I think I wanted to like that. I'll open that one. Then another reason again, and that's with the none is that sometimes you might not even know the figure to replace it. So if it's like a questionnaire and everybody's to fill like, do you have a child? Yes or no? I'll probably feel no. I'll probably feel empty because do you have a child? Maybe how many children do you have? There's a question there. I'll leave it blank. I'm not leaving it blank because I did not see the question. I'm leaving it blank because I do not have a child. Somebody has a child and kept 3, so it's showing my own is blank, but it's because I actually do not have a child. That's why it's blank. So in that case, if I replace it with 0, I'm right. If maybe like now, okay, like now by selling this product now, for example, and here was actually blank. I cannot say I want to replace this with 0, because replacing this with 0 here means that we actually sold 0 sugar, and this is the ID number for it. So if it's like a financial data, sometimes you replace it with 0 could actually mean 0 actually has a meaning. But so it does depend on your data set and depends on the contents of the 0. That's usually the thing about no. There's no straight answer of how you fix empty columns. So
Okay,
like
I don't know.
I'll just show you
Okay.
one. Let me just show you one. So I come here to this let me say dog. Let me say this. Okay, daily sales. Okay, so this goes. No, this is not what I wanted. You guys, the question what I'm looking for.
Yes, I was asking if I could share the data set with you.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so maybe we could do it after the presentation, but because we're done and heard it. So I don't know. Are you like on Twitter or
Yes,
LinkedIn?
I'm on Twitter.
Okay, so you can just send me a DM so that I would then after the presentation we'll do a quick call and we'll just attend to it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right. So I've shared my username. Are there any other questions?
No.
Okay, so you don't have questions. So thank you for coming. And by next week we have another present. Next week we have more speakers. Our speakers for today was supposed to be Chinson, but she wasn't able to make it, so I had to take over from our session. So next week we'll have more sessions on by the same time also again. So next week is what they call power apps, how to build the power apps, and our speakers would be Rachel. For Excel, I think we'd have a topic yet. I'll find out. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming and have a great day. And again, the video will be available on
I'm
YouTube.
sorry. Okay, yes, I wanted to ask. Okay,
Yeah,
I wanted to ask about this video. No problem. It's fine.
okay. So yeah, the video will be available on YouTube. Here's the YouTube name. So you can just search for UrBizEdge on YouTube, or you can follow this link. But the video will be available on YouTube by tomorrow. Yeah, the dataset is this is what the dataset is, but I'll also put the dataset on the link. I'll also put it on the YouTube link.
Okay, thank you. The data set needs access, right, as it is now, sure.
Needs access.
Yeah.
I thought okay, let me share it. Okay. Get anyone with the link. So this is the new link. You can ignore this other one. This last one is the new link. Okay, so with this link you can get the dataset.
Thank you.
All right, no. Thank you for coming, and see you again next week. Then and Peter, you can also message me on Twitter, so we'll see how to do it. Oh, the price. Actually, I forgot to listen. But I sent it today. I actually sent it. So if you check your email, you should get it. When I have this session, I remember that I forgot to. Sorry for that. But I've sent you the details of. I sent the this thing is attached to it with the access of how to access it. Okay. All right now. So thank you for coming, and see you next week.